सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ बोलिए श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरां समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। बोलिए श्री वेदव्यास भगवान की जय। हरि ओम। So welcome to this second day of Kshetragnya Vibhaga Yoga and our 61st day of listening to Srimad Bhagavad Gita Shravana Sadhana Yajna from last November 27, 2025. We have been listening every month. We are into the 13th chapter. So if you have been listening so far, you must really congratulate yourself, because it is only with the rare blessings of the divine that we can continuously and consistently follow something as deep and as noble as the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So yesterday we saw up to verse 6 and 7 we completed yesterday. What are all the qualities to know that divine? So Kshetra is the field and knower of the field is Kshetragnya. To know that Kshetragnya, to know the knower of the field, we need certain qualities. We need to cultivate and develop certain qualities. So what are those qualities are being described in these verses from Manitvam Adambitvam, the 7th verse, up to the 11th word, Adhyatmajnana Nityatvam Tattvajnanartha Darshanam. Very, very beautiful verses. Etat jnanam iti proktam. So Bhagavan says these are called jnana because anything that takes you to the jnana is also jnana. Just like as I mentioned yesterday, a doctor, a student of MBBS studying in the first year is also called a doctor because they are on the way, on the path to becoming a doctor. So in the same way, these qualities which take us to that divine state of experience of the self, of the knower, of the seer, is itself called jnana. So we will see the 7th verse once more. Hamanitvam madambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthairyamatma vinigraha. Amanitvam. Amanitvam means not having any mana. Mana is measurement, an idea. Mana is a concept. Like I am this kind of a person. I have these kind of qualities. I am great, or I am beautiful. I have studied a lot. I have this much of wealth. I am very rich, or sometimes it can be I am very poor. I am very great, or I am not so great. Whatever idea we have about ourselves is mana. Amanitvam is being without any concept about who I am or what I am. It is not a low feeling. It is you are just temporarily not thinking about that in the larger good of knowledge. So that is amanitvam. Adambhitvam, dambha is dharma dhwaja, raising my flag of righteousness and keeping it flying high all the time. letting people know that I'm so great, I'm so neat, I'm so clean, I'm so tidy, I am so brilliant, or I go to the temple every day, or I do puja every day, and I chant, I sing, I spend time in meditation, or I do yoga. I am so great, I am so good. All the good qualities and great qualities of ours we keep boasting about. That is dambha. Adambhitvam is being without, being free of all the boasting of our own goodness. Ahimsa. Ahimsa means not hurting another person or another living being by thought, word, and action. Being very careful in our activities. How do we control? How do we stop? Or how do we practice ahimsa? Kayadi anihaya. By shrinking our body, shrinking our sense organs into not expressing too much outside, keeping them inside. Like the Japanese, it is a culture among them to, whenever you sit with a Japanese in the bus, I've not been there, but I've heard about this, I've read about it. Whenever you sit with Japanese in the bus, you don't see it in many other countries. In many other countries, you see, including India, whenever you climb a bus and you sit in the bus, the first priority is given to how comfortable I can sit. But the Japanese will shrink themselves to make the other person comfortable. It is a very beautiful quality which can be appreciated. That is the that is the essence of the practice of ahimsa, is shrinking our own self so that the other person is comfortable, not expanding ourselves in such a way that it infringes upon the territory of the other person, it infringes upon the territory of community. We practice himsa in many ways. Many people, if you go on the road, whenever they get an opportunity, they will encroach into the road. They will encroach into the road in the building itself. They will, even though the limit will be in one place, they will build a step, they will build a staircase, or they will build a cement slope into the road, or they will keep their unnecessary, unwanted bikes and cycles and other things and all their garbage inside the house. They will place it outside strategically. They will place their, even if they have some bike or car parking space, and if they have some other car which is not being used, they will park it somewhere in the road and allow it to gather dust, and it will create problems for people. We are, in many many ways, we are practicing himsa. We are giving himsa to others. But if we want the knowledge of the self, we have to be practicing ahimsa. Kshanti is even when the other person is creating trouble for us, even when the other person intends to injure us or coming forward to injuring us by thought, word, and deed also. Of course, being safe and protecting ourselves is important, but not reacting to that and not fighting back towards that is Kshanti. Arjavam is straightforward behavior, being being very straight in what we do, like not being crooked or not being manipulative, not having any unwanted intentions about others, and expressing in a expressing in a straight manner. Ahimsa, Kshantihi, Arjavam. Arjavam is straightforwardness. Acharya Upasanam. Acharya is a teacher, the one who takes us close to that truth, the one who takes us, gives us that knowledge of the possibility of there is something called the self, which we have to contemplate upon. If a teacher does not tell us, we will never know in our life. We will be collecting dewdrops as if they are precious gems, and we will be spending our time in that manner unless a teacher calls us, makes us sit in their presence, teaches us the Upanishad. Very good. The streaming has come again. So, Stairyam Atma Vinigraha. Stairyam is steadiness, steadiness of our being. Atma Vinigraha is controlling the sense organs and the body from going out into into its natural ways of going out into the world, bringing it back and focusing it on the self, Atma Vinigraha. So today's verse we are going to begin. Indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara eva cha janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha nudarshanam. So what are these qualities that are required? Indriyartheshu vairagyam. So indriyartha, Atma Vinigra, Indriyartheshu Shabdadeshu. Indriya is sense organ. Artha is the object of the sense organ. For example, the sense organ of the ear, the object of the ear is sound. The sense organ of the sight, the object of the sense organ is the object of the sense organ of sight is form, name and form. Sorry, form and color. The sense organ of the nose, the object of the sense organ of the nose is smell. The sense organ of the tongue, the object of the sense organ is taste. And sense organ of the skin, the object of the sense organ is feeling and touch. So, indriyartheshu vairagyam, withdrawing the sense organ from its object, the artha, the object towards it goes to, withdrawing the ear from the sounds, withdrawing the eyes from the forms and colors, withdrawing the nose from the smells, withdrawing the tongue from the taste, and withdrawing the skin from the experiences of, softness and coolness or warmth, whatever we want to experience with the skin. Shabdadishu, what is drishta adrishteshu bhogeshu? Bhoga is experience. Bhoga can be drishta, what we can see in our own presence, in our own homes, or in our office, in our cars, or wherever we go. We have good experiences that we can see right now. Certain experiences we cannot see, we have heard through the Vedas. Like, for example, if you live a very good life here, you will go to heaven and you will experience things in heaven. We have not seen it, we have only heard them. Drishta, adrishta. Whatever has not yet come for us, future expectations of something. Bhogeshu, viraga bhavaha. Raga means attachment, viraga means vigata ragaha, being free of that attachment. Vairagyam, that is called vairagyam. Vairagyam is being free from attachment to the object of the senses. Anahankara, ahankara abhavaha evacha. Ahankara abhava means being free of that I thought. I am the doer, I am this, I am that, I am going, I am thinking, I am talking. The I naturally attracts itself to everything that we do, everything that we feel, everything that we think, and everything that we talk. So, detaching that I from everything is ahamkara, anahamkara. Anahamkara evacha, also anahamkara. Being without that attitude of I, which is pressurizing itself into everything. Then Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Everything is put in one line, one dash on top of all the letters, joining these words together, which means the whole thing we have to give a big exhalation and leave it all out. Janma, Mrityu. Janma means birth. Mrityu means death. Jara is old age. Vyadhi is disease. Dukkha is sorrow, the feeling of sorrow. Dosha anudarshanam. Dosha means going into the faults of that. Dosha anudarshanam, continuously looking for what are all the faults in all this, what are all the errors in all this, what are all the problems in all this, what are all the challenges in all this. So easily that the attitude of vairagya will come, the withdrawal from all this, withdrawal from wanting to experience birth again, experience death. Once you experience birth and once you're born, everything else follows. Janma is the first, and then you have mrityu, which is a death. Jara is old age. Vyadhi is disease. Dukkha is sorrow. We cannot avoid the other things once we are born. So checking on the faults or the errors or the difficulties in all this. Janma cha, mrityu cha, jara cha, vyadayaha cha, dukkhani cha teshu, janmadi dukkhanteshu. From janma up to dukkha, whatever has been says, pratyekam in everything, janma, dosha, mrityu, dosha. In the next one, Bhagavan is going to say, Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavan is going to explain. Pratyekam in everything, dosha, anudarshanam. Anudarshanam means not just seeing once, but constantly every day going on checking out on what are all the faults or what are all the problems or what are all the challenges because I have taken birth, because I am living. It is not that we have to end our life. It is not, Bhagavan is not talking about that. We live this life completely, we live this life well, we live this, use this opportunity to do sadhana. But here the talk is about not wanting another life or wanting to just complete with this life and be done with it rather than coming back again to experience all this again. And that is the reason why we are asked to see the dosha in all this. Dosha means the faults. Dosha anudarshanam. Janmani garbhavasa yonidwara nissaranam. So what is the dosha or what is the problem with life, birth? Garbhavasa, we have to stay in a very small place in that in the mother's womb is a with a contracted limited space for our expression of hands and legs, and neck is bent, hands and legs are kept in, locked in, the body is bent, and we are in a small capsule size of expression only we have inside the womb, janma. And then nissaranam, when we come out of the birth canal, there is a lot of pain for the baby as well as for the mother. The mother knows the pain, the baby is not aware of the pain once it is born, and only when it is told, when it is grown up and it studies all this, we know that there is pain of birth. But during the time of birth, the baby experiences that pain. Garbhavasa, yonidwara nissaranam, coming out of the birth canal. Doshaha, that is a problem which we have to continuously think about. Tasya anudarshanam alochanam, contemplating about the challenges that we face. Tatha mrityau dosha anudarshanam, even in death also seeing the faults or the errors or the difficulties in dying. Dosha anudarshanam. So that is what happens when we go to somebody else's death. That is the moment we have an understanding about what is the shortness of life, what is the uncertainty of life. Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam tatva jivitam atishaya chapalam. Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya says, Nalini dalagata jalam, like a drop of water on the lotus leaf, ati taralam. It is very, very, like it is very, very insecure. It just in one wind blows, the water can tadvat jivitam atishaya chapalam. Like that, in the same way, life is very, very, very insecure in the body. Tatvat jivitam, or even we see the ECG, the lifeline is shown. It is very, very, the movement is, of course, that is the right ECG is for it to move up and down. It should be a very zigzag line. But that shows the nature of life, the flow of life is very, very, very minute, very, very subtle. And anytime, without any notice or show cause notice or whatever it is, it can just come to a flat line. So that is the nature of mrityu. Mrityu is death, which we have to contemplate on. If we contemplate on that, we will not become a sorrowful person. We will become more alive to the present moment. We will learn to live our life well. We will learn to do what is good in this life. We will learn to study and do swadhyaya in such a way that we don't have to come back again to this life and experience this life one more time. So, mrityu. Then jara is old age. We all know what are all the problems of old age: gray hair, um, angam, again in Bhajagovindam, angam galitam phalitam undam dashana vihinam Jatam tundam vruddho yati gृहीत्वा dandam tadapi na munchati ashapindam. Angam galitam. The body is bent. Palitam mundam. Everything has become, the hair is gone from the head. Dashana vihinam. The teeth are also gone. Jatam tundam. Teeth is gone. Then vruddho yati. The person attains old age. Grihitva dandam. They take the stick to walk. They cannot walk on their own. They need the help of the walking stick. Grihitva dandam. Tadapina munchari. The biggest problem is, even after this, if we are able to be happy, it is fine. But tadapina munchati asha pindam. That ball of desire inside us, I want this, I want that, I want to do this, I want to achieve this, I want to eat this, is I want to eat this. All these things, it never goes away. It never disappears, and that is the problem of old age. So, Adochanam is, think about that. Jara, Prajna Shakti, Tejo, Nirodha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. Bhagavan says, Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavan says, Prajna Shakti, our capacity to grasp things with knowing, Prajna Shakti. Then Tejaha, the brightness, the brilliance is stopped, Nirodhaha, which is a dosha, which is a problem of old age. We have to, and Paribhutata, we become an object of ridicule by others. You are not able to do this, you are not able to drive a car, you can't even sit properly. If you talk also, we can't hear anything from what you say. We have to strain ourselves to listen to you. And what are you talking? There is no teeth and we cannot understand what you say. We don't want to sit there around you. Paribhutata, so much of insult is thrown around people who are becoming old. We are not saying that it should be done, but the reality is like that of old age. Paribhutata cha iti. Tatha vyadhishu shirorogadishu dosha anudarshanam. In the same way, vyadhi is shiroroga, headache, and other diseases that we get. Dosha anudarshanam. We have to look into the errors of all that completely and contemplate on them, so that we don't crave or we don't do things that brings us another body into another lifetime. Tatha dukkeshu adhyatma adhibhutadhi daivata nimitteshu. In the same way, contemplate on the dukkha. What are the three types of tapa or dukkha that we have? Adhi bhautika, adhi daivika, adhyatmika. Adhi bhautika is the tapa that we face, the sorrow that we face from beings around us. It can be animals, it can be birds, it can be human beings, the living beings around us that give us something to be sorrowful about, some that give us some kind of a difficulty. There is Adi Bhautika Tapa. Adi Daivika is extremes of climates, extremes of temperature, global warming, then tsunamis, heavy floods, ativrishti, anavrishti, excess rain, no rain at all, or comet or volcano eruptions, bhukampa, earthquakes. All these things are adi daivika. We do not know from where it is coming. They are all coming from different powers in this universe, adi daivika. Then adhyatmika is the problems that come from our own self. We ourselves, through our thinking patterns, through our erroneous actions, through our different karmas that we do, different actions that we do, we invite many problems into our own lives. So contemplate on these three kind of sorrows: adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika, dukkha dosha anudarshanam. So janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. So, and then the next one is asaktihi dukkani eva doshaha dukkha doshaha tasya janmadishu purvavat anudarshanam. Just like janma, we focus on what are all the sorrows. Dukkham janma, dukkham. So add that word dukkham to everything. So, dukkham means sorrow. That is what Buddha said. Dukkham dukkam, sarvam dukkham dukkam, sarvam kshanikam kshanikam. Everything is kshanikam. Everything is momentary and everything is dukkha in this life. Everything is full of sorrow. Dukkham janma, birth is sorrow. Dukkham mrityu. That is why babies are crying when they are born. If birth is joyful, babies will be laughing, babies will be happy, babies will be smiling. When the baby cries, we are all happy because for us, according to us, that is joy, the birth, and the well-being of the baby. That is thing. That is the understanding. But the baby's reality is it is crying. Why should it cry? Because there is difficulty in the whole process of being born. Dukkham janma, dukkham mrityu. Death is also sorrowful. Dukkham jara. Old age is also sorrowful. Dukkham vyadhayaha. We do not have any kind of another different opinion on all this. Vyadhi, whenever we get disease, we feel sorrow. Dukkha nimittatvat janmadayaha dukkham na punaha swarupena eva dukkham iti. There is no sorrow in being in one's own self. Being in consciousness, being as consciousness, there is no sorrow. But when we take up the body, when the body, the mind, and the intellect are functioning together as an entity, then we face sorrow. एवं जन्मादिषु दुःखदोष अनुदर्शनात् देहेन्द्रिय विषय भोगेषु वैराग्यम उपजायते. So why should we focus on the dukkha dosha? Why should we focus on the sorrow, the error of sorrow in everything? Because when we focus on the error of sorrow, we will get vairagya, we will get detached from all this, we will not crave for all this. ततः प्रत्यगात्मनि प्रवृत्तिः करणानाम आत्मदर्शनाय. When we detach from all this, what happens to the mind? All the sense organs are focused inward into knowing the self, knowing that self which is pratyagatman, the self that is experienced within, the I that is within is experienced. Evam ज्ञान हेतुत्वात् ज्ञानम उच्यते janmadi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Because it gives us jnana of the self, all this janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha dosha anudarshanam. When we follow the sorrow that is present in all this, it gives us jnana, it gives us the knowledge of who I am. I am not all this, I am the true. That is giving light to all these experiences. And so, focusing on that, it keeps me in a state of joy. Kimcha, furthermore, the next verse, asaktiranabhishwangaha putradara grihadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu asaktihi. Furthermore, asaktihi, saktihi sanga nimitteshu. When I am attached to something, there is sakti. Asakti is vishayeshu priti matram tad abhavaha asaktihi. Vishayeshu means in objects. What is sakti? Having a kind of interest, a curiosity in seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, or feeling something in this world is sakti. Asakti is being free of that. Tad bhavaha priti matram tad abhavaha asaktihi. Being free of that is asaktihi. Anabhishwangaha. Anabhishwanga abhavaha. Being free of anabhishwanga. Anabhishwanga means I am there. I am an individual. I connect with people I love. I connect with objects I love. I connect myself with situations I love. I connect myself with thoughts that I love. I am attached to all this. Anabhishwangaha nama Sakti Vishesha Eva. It is also one kind of attachment, but Sakti is basically attaching to objects of perception. Anabhishwangaha is attachment to Ananya Atma Bhavana Lakshanaha. A feeling of oneness with other people, oneness with other things is anabhishvangaha. Yatha anyasmin sukhini dukhini va ahameva sukhi dukhi cha jivati mrute va ahameva jivami marishyami cha iti. So I am, when somebody is experiencing, it is not about not being compassionate, but it is about the ability to being detached to other people's feelings and emotions. When other people get joyful, I am joyful. When other people feel sorrow, I am feeling sorrow. When so I become a sukhi or I become a dukhi. When other people are living well, I feel I am living. When someone else is dead, I feel I am dead. So because I am attached to the other person, whatever they feel, I also experience, I am feeling within me. It is a quality of compassion, no doubt. But when it is nowadays, there are so many YouTube videos and talks on how to be an empath without hurting yourself. This is empathy, but in ignorance it becomes pain for us. When it is empathy, when we are aware of that attachment and we are aware that we are there, we are available to help that person or somebody else in their joy and sorrow, sharing their joy or sharing their sorrow. When we are doing it with awareness, then it becomes empathy. When it is happening out of unawareness, we don't know why we are also feeling joy, why we are also feeling sorrow, because we are merging with the other person, we are experiencing what they experience all the time. That is called anabhishvangaha. We only when we are free of that can we focus on the self within. Otherwise, we will be dancing like a doll to the tune of the world, to the tune of what the people of the world want us to feel. They can make us feel any which way they want us to make us feel. Ahameva sukhi dukhi cha jivati mruteva ahameva jivami marishyami cha iti. I alone am living, I am dead, or whatever it is, I will be dead. Kva iti aha. Where do we have this attachment? Putra, Dara, Grihadishu. We have this attachment with our children. We have this attachment with our wife or husband. Putreshu or Griha. We have this kind of an attachment with our home. Whatever is happening for the home, we feel it is happening to us. Whatever is disturbing the home, we feel is disturbing us. Whatever is happening to the husband or wife, the wife or husband feels disturbed. Whatever is happening to the children, the mother or the father feels disturbed. So that is called abhishvangaha, being free of that. Putreshu, dareshu, griheshu, adigrahanat, anyeshu api, atyanta ishteshu, dasa vargadishu. Whatever, not only the putra, dara, griha, but anything that we like very much. Like even the servants in our house, we may like them for the making our life comfortable or giving us some help that we really need, or some of our friends or other people also in our lives, we may like them very much and we get identified with them, and that is the identity, that is a problem that will come in the way of realization of the self. Api atyanta ishtetu dasa vargadishu, among the servant class also, tatcha ubhayam jnana arthatvat jnanam uchyate. So these qualities, asakti is with related to objects, anabhishvangaha is related to people and our circumstances around us. So being free of attachment towards that is called jnanam, because it takes us to that jnanam, knowledge of the self. Nityam cha samachittatvam. Nityam samachittatvam. Samachitta. Chitta means balanced mind. Nityam, eternally. Tulya chittata, in a balanced state of mind. Kva ishta, where should we be balanced? Ishta anishta upapattishu. When we get something we desire and when we don't get something we desire, we are staying in a balanced state of mind. Ishtanam anishtanam cha upapattayaha. Whenever we get something that we desire and whenever we have something that we don't desire, upapattayaha, sampraptayaha, whenever we get that, tasu ishta anishta upapattishu nityameva tulya chittata, eternally, always, at all times, being in a balanced state of mind. Ishta upapattishu cha hrishyati, na hrishyati, na kupyati cha anishta upapattishu. When I get something that I like very much, I don't get very excited and exhilarated. When I get something that I don't like, I don't get, I don't feel very down and low and out, or I don't get angry when I get something that I don't like. Tattacha etad nityam samachittattvam jnanam. So jnanam is nityam, eternally being in a state of balanced state of mind. Kimcha, furthermore, Mayi cha Ishware. So the next verse. Mayi chananya yogena bhaktiravyabhicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samsadi. Mayi cha Ishware. In me, in the self, Ishvara, Ananya Yogena. Ananya Yoga is the identification with Ishvara, with Bhagavan. Ananya, without any other thought in my mind. I'm not having liking for this, I'm not having liking for that and that and that and that, and also Ishvara. That is Anya. I am Ananya Yoga is being identified completely with Ishvara alone. Ananya Yogena Apruthak Samadhina na Anyaha Bhagavataha Vasudevat Paraha Asti iti Ataha. Apruthak, there is nothing else other than Ishvara. Vasudevat Paraha Asti iti Ataha. Sa eva naha gatihi. That Ishvara, that Vasudeva alone is my refuge, is my goal. Iti evam nishchita avyabhicharini buddhihi. My buddhi or my intellect, the decision making faculty in me, is only choosing that Vasudeva, that Ishvara. Buddhi Ananya Yoga, that is called Ananya Yoga. Na Anya Ananya. There is no other, there is only that Ishvara. Tena Bhajanam Bhaktihi. By that one pointed attention I give to Ishvara, that is called bhakti, that is called devotion. Na vyabhicharana shila. Avyabhicharini bhakti is not swerving here and there, not putting the eggs in many baskets, putting all the eggs in one basket. It's a proverbial expression for money of putting all your, like, not putting all your eggs in one basket is a good thing for investment in, with our cash, with our money. But with related to Bhagavan, putting all our thoughts in Bhagavan only, putting all our attention in Bhagavan only is called Avyabhicharini Bhakti. Sacha Jnanam. That is also called a Jnanam. That is a knowledge. If I have complete one pointed devotion to Ishvara, that devotion will take me to the knowledge of the self. And then Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. Viviktaha Swabhavataha. Viviktaha means a separate, a place which is not mingled with everything else, which is not combined with everything else. You have this and that, and you have all chaos, you have all confusion, you have all dirt, you have all filth. It is not that. There is something unique, there is something separate about this place. Vivikta, such a place, Desha Sevitvam. Go and pay your attention, or be or live in a place which is alone, which is separate. How? Like Swabhavataha, naturally also it can be a cave in the Himalayan mountains, or it can be a river bank somewhere, in the Himalayas. People go and stay there to do this meditation. That is where this instruction comes from. Seek a comfortable place which is far away from the common society. Swabhavataha, or naturally a secluded spot, or samskarena va. Samskarena means a place, it can be your own home, but you do some samskara on it. You do some cleaning, you do some tidying, you do some decoration. In our tidying language, there's something called creating a power spot for yourself. Even in meditation, it is commonly used. What is a power spot? It can be one space in your house, one room, or even a tent like a structure which you can create with your own folded blanket or bed sheet, which is where you have only one thing you will do. You will enter into that spot. It is very neat, clean, and tidy. You will attend to it every day. You will clean it and keep it neat, clean and tidy. And you can light a lamp or you can light an agarbatti. And you can have an image of the deity that you would love to. It can't be even in the puja room these days, because the puja room is a common place where everybody bring all their photos and keep it in the place, and so there is a lot of distraction even in the puja room. It can be a separate quiet place for yourself, where it is a go-to place. Wherever you want, you create that space so beautifully. It can be even a windowsill. These power spots can be anywhere. It is a quiet zone for you, where you go in there, you can zone in and you can tune into yourself. You will be able to forget the world outside, and you will be able to sit quietly there and do your sadhana and your meditation. Aratir, so संस्कारेण वा अशुचि आदिभिः सर्पव्याघ्रादिभिः च रहितः. It should be free of ashuchi. It should be free of all impurities, of dirt, of filth, of mess, of untidiness. All that should not be there. And sarpa vyagradibihi. Sarpa is snakes, vyagra is tiger. Wild animals or animals that are not tamed should not be around that place, because you have to go within. There should be a lot of freedom to do that, a safety to do that. The brain will not allow you to go in when the situation is not safe. And even uncleanliness is lack of sanitation is also not safety. That is why the brain loves sanitary conditions, sanitized conditions. च रहितः अरण्य नदी पुलीन Devagriha Aranya is forest. Nadi Pulina is banks of the river. Devagriha is temples. Viviktaha Deshaha, seeking a quiet zone there. Tam Sevitum Sheelam Yasyas Iti Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Tad Abhavaha Tad Bhavaha. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. Vivikta Desha Sevi Tad Bhavaha. Being a person who identifies with places which are very neat, quiet, and calm, and away from chaos of the world. Vivikteshu hi desheshu chittam prasidati. Why? What happens in such places, in such quiet, calm, neat, tidy, beautiful places? Chittam prasidati. The mind becomes very calm. The mind becomes very relaxed. Prasidati. Yataha tata atmadi bhavana vivikte upajayate ataha vivikta desha sevitvam jnanam uchyate. This vivikta desha sevitvam, seeking quiet places for meditation, is also called jnana, because it helps to seek the self. It helps to seek the knowledge of the self. Aratihi aramanam janasamsadi jananam prakritanam samskara shunyanam avinitanam samsat samavayaha janasamsat. The presence of lots of people around us are atihi, not being attached or not having any taste, for being free of the taste for the attachment with groups of people. What kind of people? It is more a motley crowd, a mob, Prakritanam Jananam. Prakrita is people who are uncultured, people who are it is not condemning them. It is just taking care of. It is taking care of them. It is taking care of ourselves. Prakritanam Jananam. People who are uncultured, people who do not have a similar pattern of sadhana that you are doing, a similar thought pattern that you are having about sadhana, about divinity, about a life of quietude, about a life of uh, a seva, sadhana, satsanga, not engaging with all those people. Jana samsadi, avinitanam, people who do not have vinita, people who do not have humility. Samskara shunyanam, people who do not have the right samskars or the right habits in their life. We do not want to engage with all of them, because it will disturb our sadhana. Avinitanam samsat samavayaha jana samsat na samskaravatam vinitanam samsat. It is not avoiding people who are very cultured, people who have good habits or who have habits that are similar to us, and people who are humble, noble people. It is not avoiding that, but it is not talking about avoiding those people, but it's avoiding these groups of people who do not have this kind of a culture, who do not have this kind of a idea about sadhana, idea about God, putting ourselves just for the sake of being in a crowd, being seen in a crowd, sitting in a place where people are talking that there is no God, it is useless to do all this sadhana, don't waste your time. When you join with such crowd, our mind also will get disturbed. Tasya jnana upakarakatvat. So these people you don't need to avoid. There is people with good samskaras and there is satsanga you don't need to avoid because jnana upakaratvat. They help you in your jnana. Ataha prakrita jana samsadi aratihi jnanarthatvat jnanam. So being withdrawing yourself from prakrita janaha or motley people who do not have any kind of an idea about this kind of sadhana that you are doing, or they do not have any kind of an interest in that, and they drag you away into seeing television serials and going for movies and dancing for film songs, which are rajasic and tamasic and all that. Avoid that company. If you want yadi chet, that is shubham atmani, everywhere all the shastras are not condemning anything, but they point out that if you want to know the self, if you want to know moksham ichchasi chet tata, in the Piyushavad Bhaja, in Ashtavakra Gita, Ashtavakra tells Janaka, "O Janaka, if you want moksha, Piyushavad," so many qualities he says, Piyushavad, like Amritam, you serve all these qualities. So if you want that jnana, which is moksha, is knowledge of the self, if you want that, then Aratihi Jana Samsadi. It is also called jnana, being free of the crowds of people who do not have the same interests like you have. You want to reach that self, then you withdraw from them. Kimcha, the next verse, adhyatmajnana nityatvam tatvajnanarthadarshanam etadjnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam. This is also a jnana. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam. Always revel in the knowledge of the self. Atmadi Vishayam Jnanam, Adhyatma Jnanam. What is Adhyatma Jnanam? The knowledge of who I am. Atmadi Vishayam Jnanam. Tasmin Nitya Bhavaha Nityatvam. Being eternally abiding in that knowledge of the self is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. Amanitvadinam Jnana Sadhananam Bhavana Paripaka Nimittam Tatvajnanam Tasya Arthaha Mokshaha Samsara Uparamaha Tasya Alochanam Tatvajnana Artha Darshanam. So, Amanitva and Adambitva, we saw all these. When these qualities become mature in us, the qualities of amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjavam, acharya upasanam, shaucham, stairyam, atma vinigraha, indriyarteshu vairagyam, anahankara evacha, janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanudarshanam, asaktihi, anabhishwangaha, putradara गृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्ट अनिष्ट उपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिः अव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिः जनसंसदि. If all these qualities said so far become mature in us, then we will get tattva jnana. We will get the knowledge of the self, knowledge of the tattva. Tattva jnana, artha darshanam, adhyatma jnana nityatvam. If we have adhyatma jnana, eternally we are seeking that knowledge of the self, then we will get tattva jnana, and seeking that tattva jnana artha darshanam. Tasya arthaha, what is the goal of tattva jnana? If I get the knowledge of the self, what will happen? If I get the knowledge of my all the elements of my being, the elemental nature of my being, the essence of my being, then what happens? I will gain moksha. I will gain liberation. So what is moksha? Samsara uparamaha. Samsara is constant change and modification in our surroundings, among the people around us, in our own body, in our own mind, in our own breath. in our own thinking patterns, in our own ideas, in our own faiths. We are having constant changes. Today we think one thing, tomorrow we think another. And because we think different things, there is different impact on us all the time. And the different impacts bring different triggers in us. And unconsciously we fall for those triggers, and our life continues. And again, the same changes keep coming back again and again into our life. So that is called samsara. Samsara uparama is moksha. When the samsara withdraws from us, when the changes no more have any role to play in our life, when we don't get triggered by changes, when we are following smoothly the path that we want to go, that we want to achieve, and we are going forward in a very decisive manner, in a clear manner towards our goal, then we are going towards a process of moksha. Samsara uparamaha. Tasya alochanam, contemplating on this all the time. How will I be free of samsara? How will I attain moksha? How will I attain liberation? That is called Tattvajnana Artha Darshanam. Looking at the artha of Tattvajnana, looking at the goal of Tattvajnana. What is the goal of Tattvajnana? Moksha. What is moksha? Samsara uparamaha. When the samsara, which is around me, the change, the manifestation of change and modification, transformation, transmigration of from birth to death, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, dukkha, all these changes are stopped in my life, then I am going towards the path of moksha. Tattvajnana Artha Darshanam. So, keeping our goal fixed on that moksha, on the goal of moksha, tat sadhana anushthanena pravrittihi syad iti. Being engaged in the path towards liberation, towards moksha, is called Tattvajnana Artha Darshanam. Ajnanam, okay. So tattva etad jnanam iti proktam. This is called jnanam. All these help us towards that path of knowledge of the self. So they are called jnana. Anything other than this, if you put an antonym to everything, right from that amanitvam, antonym manitvam, adambhitvam, dambhitvam, amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, into himsa, kshanti, akshanti. Whatever you put an antonym to everything is ajnana. So what is jnana? Jnana is all this. All these qualities are jnana. Etad amanitwadi tattvajnana artha darshanam arshanantam uktam jnanam iti proktam jnanarthatvat. Since it helps us to go towards jnana, it is called jnana. It is called knowledge. Ajnanam yat ataha asmat yatoktat anyatha viparyayena manitvam, dambitvam, himsa, akshantihi, anarjavam, ityadi. Everything is putting everything is making it into an antonym is ajnana. Ityadi ajnanam vigneyam pariharanaya. It has to be removed from us. This ajnana has to be removed from us. Samsara pravritti karanatvat iti. Why should we remove ajnana from our lives? Because it will make us engage in this world of samsara. It will make us engage in this world of name and form changes. And so we have to remove all these qualities from our life. Yathoktena jnanena jnatavyam kim iti akankshayam aha Nyayam yatyat pravaksh ityadi. So the next verse begins with Nyayam yatyat. So jnanam is spoken. Jnanam, then the knower, the Kshetragnya, the knower has been explained. The field has been, Kshetra has been explained. The object of the knower, that has been explained. And then the qualities that help us to know the knower is explained. And now, what is it that should be known? Jneyam is yathoktena jnanena jnatavyam kim iti akankshayam aha. So because of the desire to, what should we know with all these kind of knowledge that we have seen so far from amanitvam, adambitvam, everything is jnanam. Everything is a state of thought. It is like wearing a glass. Amanitvam, one type of glass you wear, and you will experience that tattva. And then adambitvam, a different type of glass you wear, at that quality you wear, then you will experience the tattva. Ahimsa, If you wear the glass of ahimsa, then also you will experience the tattva. So all these qualities that have been described so far is like a glass, a thought glass that we put on to have an experience of the tattva. Like, for example, a scientist who wants to research a small particle, a cell in a plant, even we do it in our schools also. We have to pass that slide test, that lab test for our final examinations, public examinations, where they will keep one slide under the microscope, and we see that we look through the microscope to see that slide, to see that cell, and then we note down the parts of the cell in our log book or record book or whatever it is, and we get the marks. But to see that small thing, we need that microscope. Or to see something very big and very far away, we need a telescope. In the same way, to see the cell, to see the self, we need the jnana scope. We need the lens of jnana. We need the lens of all these different forms of jnana to see that self. And so there is a big discussion after this. We will go into the next one. Nyeyam yattat pravakshami yajñātvāmritam ashnute anādimat param brahma na sattanna saduchyate. Nyeyam, what is that to be known? Yat tat pravakshami, that which is to be known, I will talk about that. Pravakshami, I will clearly spell out what needs to be known. Yat jnatva, why should I know that? When I know what I'm going to talk about, that object of knowledge, which is the self, tat yat jnatva amritam ashnuti, that individual reaches a state of mind where they are experiencing that immortal state of being. There is no feeling of death. Amritam ashnute, anadimat param brahma, that which is anadimat. Adimat is something that has an end. Anadimat is something that has no end. Param, that supreme, Brahma, na sat, tan na asat uchyate. It is not sat, it is not something that is existing, it is not something that is non-existing also. It is beyond sat and asat, it is param, it is supreme. Anadimat, okay. Nyeyam nyatavyam yat tat pravakshami prakarshena yatavad vakshyami. I will speak very clearly about what should be known. Kim phalam tat iti, by knowing prarochanena shrotuhu abhimukhi karanaya aha. So why is that phala shruti being given? The phala shruti means what will you get if you know the self? Because everywhere in the Vedas or in the Upanishads, they are saying give up the desire for results of your actions. No, do action without expecting results. But here the phala shruti is being given. The phala shruti is what is it that I will get by knowing that self? I will get amrutatvam. I will get the knowledge that I am the immortal self. Yat jneyam jnatva amrutatvam ashnute na punaha mriyate ityartaha. Yat jneyam jnatva, by knowing that self, once I know it, I will attain immortality. I will not die again. Meaning I will not be born again. Ityartaha. Anadimat adihi asya asti iti adimat. Na adimat anaditam. Whatever has got adi, beginning, is adimat. That which does not have a beginning, anadimat. Param. Param is niratishayam brahma. That which is not limited by anything. That Brahma, the supreme, is niratishayam. That I am. Jneyam iti prakrutam. So that is being described here. So some others are having an objection. We don't have any objections to what Bhagavan Adi Sankaracharya says. So the students have objections, and Adi Sankaracharya Bhagavan answers in many, many pages. Maybe those objections, sometimes we can take it up as individual sessions after we finish the whole Bhagavad Gita. In the Shankara Bhashya part of it, the individual objections that are coming in Bhagavad Gita that are running into many, many pages, we can take it up every month once in so many sessions on YouTube. But here we will go with the flow of the verses. Sat shabda pratyaya vishayatva avishayatvat asatva ashankayam nyeyasya sarva pranikarana upadhi dwarena tad tad astitvam pratipadayan tad ashanka nivrityartham aha. Talking about the Sat and what is the nature of that Supreme Self. Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshishiro mukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamavritya tishtati. Even these qualities are explained in detail. We are going to go into the simple meaning of these verses. It is describing the self. Sarvataha panipadam tat. It is functioning with hands and legs everywhere, through everybody. Sarvataha panayaha padaha cha asya iti sarvataha panipadam tat jneyam. That object which is to be known has got hands and legs everywhere, which means it is expressing through all the hands and legs of all the people and all the beings in this world. Sarva prani karana upadhibihi kshetragnya astitvam vibhavyate. The Kshetragnya is present in everybody, in all the beings, in all the animals, in all the birds, in all the plants, in all the insects, in all the living beings in this world. The Kshetragnya is present. Kshetragnya cha kshetra upadhita uchyate. Kshetram cha panipadadibhihi anekadha bhinnam. The kshetram is very, very different everywhere. Kshetra means a place. It is different. But the Kshetragnya is the same that occupies all the kshetra everywhere. All the living beings in this whole world. Kshetra upadhi bheda kritam vishesha jatam mithya eva kshetragnasya iti tad apanayanena nyeyatvam uktam nasattannasad uchyate. Again, we are not going into this. The different explanations for this, we will see the 13th and 14th verse. One moment. What is this verse? Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvataha akshishiro mukham. The 13th verse. We will just look into the 14th verse. Sarvendriya gunabhasam sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarva bhritchaiva nirgunam guna bhoktrucha sarva indriya gunabhasam. Like now the previous verse talked about the whole universe of the Kshetra and the Kshetragnya present in the whole universe of all living beings. Now the same Kshetragnya is spoken about as present in this body. Sarva indriya guna abhasam. Sarva indriya, all the 10 indriyas, the qualities of the indriyas are being lit up by this Kshetragnya. Sarvani cha tani indriyani shrotradini buddhindriya karmendriya akhyani antakarane cha buddhi manasi jneya upadhistasya tulyatvat sarvendriya grahanena grihyante. All indriyas refer to the 5 sense organs of perception, which is the eyes, ears, sense organ of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling and touching. 5 sense organs of action, which is the speaking, the grasping, the walking, the excreting and the reproducing, the sense organs. Sarva indriya, the sense organ of the mind, the sense organ of the intellect also, antakarana. Sarva indriyani, tani indriyani, shrotradini, antakaranecha buddhi manasi, jneya upadhistasya, tulyatvat, sarvendriya grahanena grihyante. Apicha, antakarana upadhi dwarena eva shrotradinam api upadhitvam iti. Upadhi means everything is a limiting adjunct to this body, mind and intellect. So the limitation to that, the expression of the self within us is through these upadhis. Ataha antakarna bahishkarna upadhi britaihi sarvendriya gunaihi adhyavasaya sankalpa shravana vachanadibihi avabhasate iti sarvendriya gunabhasam sarva indriya vyaparaihi vyaprutam iva tat jneyam ityartaha. So this is also going into a long explanation. We will Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, then Sarva Indriya Vivarjitam. It is free of all sense organs also. Asaktam Sarva Brichaiva. It is not attached to anything at the same time. Nirgunam. It is free of all the qualities of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. It throws the light on Sattva Guna. It throws its light of awareness on Rajoguna. It throws its light of awareness on the Tamoguna, but it does not have the qualities of Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Sarva Nirgunam Guna Bhoktracha. It is also the experiencer of all the three gunas also. That awareness of the experience is there in the self as long as it is tied with the body, mind, and intellect. And so we will see. Iti evam kshetram mahabhutadi यथोक्त अर्थ उपसंहारार्थः ayam shlokaha arabhyate. So the next shloka, whatever verses have been said, the meanings of all those verses are being concluded in the next verse, which we will see tomorrow. Om sarvesham swastir bhavatu, sarvesham shantir bhavatu, sarvesham purnam bhavatu, sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेवा. हरि ओम. लेट्स मीट टुमारो.